Reddit, what is your stories of malicious compliance? Stripped in the principal's office. This did happen about 15 years ago, but I can't help snickering about it from time to time. In high school, I was a pretty mild-mannered kid. I came from a very strict household, and a call from the school was absolutely unacceptable. I also wanted approval from authority figures, as I rarely got it at home, so I kept quiet, did good work, and was generally well liked by my teachers. Like I said, it was a strict household and my outfits were closely inspected for modesty by my very conservative parents. If it passed at home, it wasn't going to get me in trouble. I tried hard to fit in with the other kids though, and found that wearing a layer underneath made regular outfits pass the home dress code. So I still got to wear the distressed jeans, but you could see black leggings instead of my knees. Not a huge deal, and it helped me feel better about my appearance, at least socially anyway. As trends were set, leggings became super popular. Finally, I was ahead and on point with my style. Some girls did begin to abuse the system though. School dress code required skirts to be no shorter than 3 inches, 1 index card above the knee. Standard was suddenly lots of tiny denim mini skirts with leggings. So the school cracked down and said leggings were no longer allowed under skirts. Of course, since I had different home rules, I didn't even own a skirt that short. My skirts had to reach the knees, which was 3 inches longer than the school requirement. I didn't even mention the new school rule at home, because I didn't think it was an issue. So I get super cute, wearing my knee-length denim skirt and leggings, as it was still trendy, and a bit chilly out, pass home inspection and head off to school. Nothing was said in my first 3 classes, but like I said, I was a good kid and always well covered. One of the super mean teachers, not even mine, just one standing outside her door, spotted my skirt and leggings in the hall, and grabbed me, and marched me down to the office. I knew of the rule change, but I truly thought it wouldn't be a big deal, since I wasn't wearing a mini skirt. She shoved me in, and yelled something about a dress code violation, and left to return to her class. I was called in, thinking the principal, who I didn't know well, would laugh with me about her unreasonableness. Boy was I wrong. He screamed up and down how I was dressed inappropriately, and he would be calling my parents to come get me to take me home to change. Oh no. Ooh no. As I stood and turned around showing him my clothes, I tried to argue that my skirt met code and the leggings covered more. I even tried to explain that my parents would take it out on me in an aggressive manner. He wasn't going to hear any of it. I had to think fast. Cue malicious compliance. While he was still looking for the number to call, I kicked off my shoes and began wriggling the leggings down and off, right there in his office in front of him. Since my skirt was long enough, I shoved my pants in my bag and stated that now he has no reason to call my parents. I was fully compliant with the dress code of the school. As he stared with his mouth agape, I could see him turning red while trying to figure out how to deal with me. He ended up just yelling, "Get out of my office. Get to class." Never have I felt so relieved. TLDR, leggings weren't allowed under skirts, but I thought mine would be fine, since it met regulations. When I got in trouble, I removed my leggings from under my skirt right in front of them. Dress code violation? Fine, I'll just take off more clothes. I was inspired by this post and wanted to write my experience. In middle school, we had a strict dress code for girls. It was a public school as well. One of the rules was that you couldn't wear an off-the-shoulder shirt. Another was that straps-on shirts had to be at least an inch thick, lest the boys go crazy for our waxy shoulders. My parents didn't care about how I dressed, but they made sure it was appropriate in every way, shape and form. By that, I mean that, as long as I was modest and following rules, I could dress myself. One day, I went to school wearing a shirt that had a wide neckline and would often slip to off one shoulder. I was aware of this, so I wore a tank top with inch-thick straps underneath. I even color coordinated to make it all pretty. Anyway, I'm sure many of you can see where this is going. I made it through half my day, but at lunch, security came over and started yelling at me. I was in 7th grade and new to the school and did not handle disapproval well, so I started to freak out. They told me that I was in dress code violation for my off-the-shoulder shirt. Mind you, it wasn't intentional. It would just slide, and my parents would be called, and I would be forced to wear my PE shirt for the rest of the day. However, as they are going on and on about the trouble I'm in, I realized that the tank top under my shirt was in full compliance. Instead of putting on more clothes to cover myself up, I simply took off the offending shirt, leaving me far more revealed. You could now make out that I was wearing a bra under my shirt. Scandalous. Security started to yell again and brought me to the office, but they saw no problem with the current outfit I was wearing and sent me out. Moral of the story is that school dress codes are sexist and stupid, as multiple times people have to take off clothes to be in compliance. Poured water on a girl at school. Teacher saw and sent me to the principal. Wrote an essay, and she got detention. Happened like 15 years ago at high school. During breaks at school I'd be hanging around with my mates and there was this girl, nicknamed Flea because she was small and annoying. She was quite the annoyance, but we largely ignored her. One day it got too much, and I poured my water bottle over her. Unfortunately there was a teacher course and she saw what happened. Cue me being sent to the principal's office. Principal was naturally rather unimpressed by my behavior and told me to write an essay on what I'd done and why it was inappropriate, indicating that I'd received attention at the end of it. Now the MC, instead of writing the one-page essay requested, I wrote 3 pages, detailing the months of annoyance and abuse, and how we were constantly trying to avoid her, even moving locations where we hung out. I detailed how she would jump on our backs trying to knock us off balance, causing us to fall several times, pull our hair, and the PSD resistance of the essay, the dozens of times she tried to grab and kick our nuts. I got really good at catching approaching feet with my thighs. I handed in my essay and waited for them to tell me how much detention I'd get. The principal came out of his office, said I was free to go, and told the teacher to bring the girl in. She ended up getting detention, a call to her parents, and she didn't bother us again. Bonus story. Similar vein. Another girl I poured drink on, this time red fizzy on white school uniform. She was constantly stealing our hacky sack, so one day I saw her run for it as it fell. Stepped on it, so she couldn't get it. She was trying to wrench it out from under my foot, so I poured most of my can of red Mirinda slowly on her back. Poured half my drink out before she ran away. Nothing came of that one. Although I figured out years later she actually liked me, so screwed that one up. Waste dozens of man hours because you're smarter? Sure. Rereading this before posting it. This is boring as F. I'm on mobile, and while English is my first language, I'm only so-so at it. I'm the foreman of a directional boring crew. If you don't know what that is, the TL doctor is that you use a machine to push flexible metal rods in the ground, then hook up a pipe, say, for water or electric, and pull it back the hole you just made so there is minimal disturbance to the area. Anyone in the construction industry will tell you it's just packed with people in charge who've never done anything related to the field. They tend to read the rules and go to a class and think they're the expert. We have a whole department of them, the safety office. Their job is to prepare presentations once a month to keep people from getting complacent, fight claims against us from OSHA and PSC, prepare reports for the utility company, and everyone's favorite, random audits. There are a lot of pretty strict rules in place, and for good reasons. Wear your hard hat. Saved my life at least twice. No holes over 5 feet without stabilizing the walls. Treat every pipe or wire as if it might be live. This is important, etc. There are other rules that, if followed to the letter in all circumstances, are a waste of time, money, and sanity. The following is a story of one of those rules. When boring, you cannot physically see where the drill is cutting through, but it does have a transmitter that tells you all relevant information extremely accurately. Angles, pitches, depths, location. Before you begin, you must dig to verify the location of all utilities that are to be crossed or paralleled in order to prevent destroying it. Ever seen a 12 feet high fountain of sewage? I have. My company has a rule where you must both dig to find the utility and dig deep enough to see the end of the machine passing through. This rule is in place specifically for bores that require that you have little clearance on the existing utilities. Most sane people find this rule being black and white is ridiculous and just dig to find the utility, plus a buffer zone to know that you aren't aimed at it, and roll on, since doing it by the book does not make anything safer and only costs loads of time and physical effort. I get a random audit one day from a new safety enforcer straight from college and everything seems peachy. I sign off and he goes on his way. The next day, I'm pulled into the office where my supervisor is waiting with a write-up from corporate. I had crossed a Verizon line that was 6 inches in the ground where my depth was 4 feet and hadn't instructed my crew to dig so they could see the crossing. I had broken a rule, so there was nothing I could do to fight it. The report was sent to corporate, so my supervisor couldn't fight it. 2 more and I'm gone. Cue malicious compliance. My next job was a simple gas service to a lavish house on a densely wooded hillside. Gas services need to be done in one day to make a reasonable profit. End of day 2, and my supervisor finally noticed that I didn't even have pipe in the ground yet. I get a stern talking to about my productivity and I'm sent to the area manager for the next phase of discipline. We have a good chat. The next day the new safety guy's not in a good mood. Through the grapevine I hear that his job was threatened if he kept up frivolous strikes on audits. I mean, I had to follow the rules. Wasn't my fault that I had to dig 5 2x4x4 test pits on a 30-year-old cut cable line snaking its way just under the pine needles in my path. Edit, removed some words, and changed a typo. TL. Dr. New safety guy with no experience causes unnecessary negative report to corporate and gets put in his place. Thanks for watching. What was your favorite story? Let me know in the comments below.